Lovely to be with you again. And we have another opportunity here to continue learning about parenting teenage children and younger children. Some children who are in pain just withdraw from life. Life's too painful. They hide in their room. They don't communicate. They might be labeled as shy. They maybe don't talk to you. They might look depressed. Some get to the point where they actually get a mental health diagnosis, not uncommon at all. We're going to talk about such a case here. Remember this, ignore the diagnoses and seeing your child as a problem. There is hope. There are practical, tried and tested solutions to heal your child. So let's get busy with the healing. And we'll begin with a real life story. Miss Thorvald, a high school teacher, called me to describe Sophia, a student in her class with what's called selective mutism. It's a complex anxiety disorder characterized by a consistent failure to speak in social situations where speech is expected, like school. Kind of severe shyness, not unlike it at all. So if you've never heard this term, just hear shy and not communicating. It applies to your child who does that. It's described as a disorder in the DSM-5, which is the Bible of describing mental health problems. Sophia had suffered from selective mutism from age 6. She spoke only to certain members of her family at home, even then not consistently, but never to anyone outside the home. She'd been in therapy for years, which often is really traumatizing, attended special classes at school, and successfully avoided any verbal interaction with teachers or anybody else at school. She was steadily failing and falling behind academically and socially. Ms. Thorvald asked me how she should treat Sophia. She said, "Are there any techniques I should know?" Now, mental health professionals believe that selective mutism, extreme shyness, stems from a combination of genetic, temperamental, and environmental factors requiring cognitive behavioral therapy, speech and language therapy, and sometimes medication. But my experience with these kids strongly points only to a need for us to recognize and treat the simple pain and fear that most children experience because of a lack of the real love that they need. So I recommended that the teacher treat Sophia as though she had no problem at all. Treat her like a beloved child. So I suggested that she, 1, look directly into Sophia's eyes every time she spoke. Anxious children feel disconnected from people, and they feel the intimacy and need it of direct eye contact. When children are different, we tend not to look at them. So I said, look at her. 2, casually touch her head or shoulder as you pass by while wandering through the class, like teachers often do. 3, ask Sophia direct questions, which is against the advice of the child's team of advisors. So the teacher, what I'm suggesting is not that she insists on a response, but that she would still ask questions as though Sophia were going to answer. If Sophia did not answer, Ms. Thorvald would provide the answer or move on to another student with no sign of disappointment. 4, ask Sophia questions where the answer is sufficiently obvious that a yes or no would do. Give her an opportunity just to answer non-verbally with a nod or shake of the head. And then always thank Sophia for her participation in class as she's leaving, no matter how little she's actually said or done. So Ms. Thorvald did that, followed the suggestions consistently, persistently, but never aggressively. As the days passed, cool things happened. Sophia did, all this applies not just to this selective mutism, but to all kids who are non-communicative. She began to answer by moving her head in response to yes or no questions. And then one day, when she was asked a question, Sophia gestured with a curved finger for the teacher to come closer. Picture how cool this is. And then when Miss Thorvald's ear was right next to Sophia's mouth, Sophia whispered the answer. On other occasions, without Miss Thorvald getting closer, Sophia began to mouth the answers. She didn't speak them, but Miss Thorvald could read her lips. And finally, one day, she whispered her first answer in class, so quietly that almost nobody could hear, but she did it. And then she kept doing it. And at the end of the year, Sophia gave Miss Thorvald the following letter. She said, Miss T, I want to thank you for all your help this semester. A big part of this semester, I've been wondering how you put up with me and why you've wanted to help me. I still don't get it, but I'm really grateful for it. Look how articulate Sophia is in writing, despite speaking very little, almost none, in class. Later questions from me revealed that Sophia had been traumatized all her life, no surprise, by the simple absence of unconditional love. Nobody did anything obviously harmful to her. No screaming or hitting or sexual abuse or alcoholic parents. No, her injuries were far more innocent and subtle than that. Her parents just didn't know how to love their daughter. And the more the daughter withdrew, the more the parents just sort of handed her over to healthcare professionals. The parents just quietly disapproved of her behavior or said a critical word here and there, or just didn't notice her pain. And Sophia learned in the process that she was just not worth loving. That's what our kids hear. But Miss Thorvald was like a light in the darkness of that belief. Sophia continued to write. She said, "You are the most caring person I've ever met, and you always make me feel less alone." End quote. Kill me. Sophia had strong feelings toward Miss T, despite the teacher spending only a few hours a week with her, far less than the time consumed by the extensive team of counselors and therapists. Sophia continues, "Sometimes it feels like people are afraid of me." She's a smart kid. "And afraid of speaking to me because they know that I wouldn't answer anyway. So they give up on me. But you haven't been like that, and that's helped me a lot." End quote. Almost uniformly, we're afraid of what we don't understand and what we can't control. Sophia could feel people's fears, and that just shut her down even more. Sophia continued, quote, "I don't know how I would have managed this semester without your help. So thank you for being such a good teacher and a person who really cares about students." Oh, we are quick to apply mental health labels to children we don't understand and can't control. As we do that, we avoid much of the responsibility as we pass it off to teams of specialists. And we don't have to feel bad if our efforts are fruitless because, after all, they have this diagnosis. Mutism, ADD, whatever. What these children all need is love. Further, I have personally witnessed that most children with presumed mental health problems lose their symptoms and their diagnoses when they're surrounded by the love they needed in the first place. I'm Greg Baer, founder of the Real Love Company, a nonprofit dedicated to making relationships easier for everyone, and especially parents. Give that like button a tap and hit the subscribe to keep the valuable parenting lessons rolling in. I love being with you. Look forward to seeing you the next time. And in the meantime, remember that it's all about the love.